The Suns are finally an exciting team to watch again. They had an excellent offseason, acquiring Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, and other key pieces. They currently have the 6th best defense in the NBA and recently picked up wins against the 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Their offense and defense has drastically improved under head coach Monty Williams, and they're only getting better as the season goes on. I will be breaking down why I'm excited about the Suns this season, and how all of their pieces fit together, sharing some of the Suns' key points of emphasis and discussing their playoff chances. We will be focused on their recent games versus the Bucks and the 76ers, who are both top 10 defensive rated in the NBA. Let's get into it. The most notable offseason acquisition was Chris Paul after a standout season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. CP3 provides great leadership and scoring, being able to execute at a high level in pick and roll, as well as create for himself in isolation. He has also shown flashes of being a floor spacer for the Suns, which is super important considering how often Devin Booker needs the ball to score. A staple in CP3's game is elbow pick and roll. Here we see Devin set the go screen, acting as if he was about to set it before cutting to the opposite corner, and Ayton stepping into the actual screen. As we all know, CP3's mid-range game is elite, and elbow pick and rolls are a great action to put CP3 in his favorite spot to score. Take note of CP3's eyes in this clip. After he snakes off the Ayton drag screen, he uses his eyes to freeze Lopez, allowing him to gain the needed space to get his signature fadeaway off for the bucket. Chris Paul has to be one of the shiftiest players in the league. Check out this fake between the legs dump off pass as if he was passing it to Booker. This causes DiVincenzo to have to pick up Devin, and Middleton, who was going to pick up Book, now has CP3, before he gets hit with a really tough speed stop exchange into reverse steps for the pull-up. Note how CP3 waits for Middleton's hips to be fully turned before stopping, rather than just stopping and dragging back on his first dribble here. If he were to stop here, Middleton would have easily been able to stop and contest. Compare this to taking one more dribble and waiting for his hips to be fully turned. With the addition of Chris Paul, Devin Booker has moved to more of a pure scoring threat compared to that of previous seasons where he often had to dominate the ball for the Suns to succeed. Chris Paul has allowed Devin Booker to increase his attempts in his favorite area, the mid-range, by 5% so far this season, which means the mid-range now accounts for 50% of all his attempts. He is scoring at the rim a whole lot less this year due to having a lot more space in the mid-range, as he is no longer the Suns' only scoring threat. This season has been the most efficient for Devin Booker so far in his whole career. The Suns love to get Devin small advantages before the catch, such as this simple Iverson cut, where he smartly ducks under the screen as Middleton attempts to lock and trail over, and on the catch shows the ball before rising up and knocking it down. Here the Suns start their delay action, and Devin gets a dribble pitch from Kaminsky. This flows into an on-ball screen, gaining Devin an advantage. Check out his pace, performing a dribble pause to freeze Lopez as he appears to wait for Kaminsky on the roll before using a turn dribble into space. Note how he dribbles the ball under DiVincenzo's arm before hitting the tough fadeaway. Devin is elite at punishing defenders for trying to cheat. Here off the pin down, he notices Middleton try to go under, so on the catch, Devin smartly rips baseline. He then uses little float dribbles, patiently waiting, using his eyes to put pressure on Middleton to switch out onto the roller before again hitting an insane fadeaway. Here we see flashes of Nash as Devin moves into the wing pick and roll in a close stance, pushing his defender into the elbow area for the screen before utilizing a hip swivel to open up his stance into the nice pull up in the paint. Very Nash-esque. The third piece to the Suns' current success is Mikal Bridges. Mikal has found success in filling what I would call the Swiss Army knife role for the Suns. He often defends the opposing team's best player with his insane 7-foot wingspan, despite only being 6'5" tall himself. He has also proven to be a valuable floor spacer, shooting 38.7% from 3, with 98% of those attempts being assisted. He was 3 from 3 versus the Bucks, following one of the Suns' key principles of 1 can't guard 2. Often on the weak side, due to help rotations, a single player is zoning 2 players on the wing and the corner. The defender who is zoning 2 will always take the first pass, leaving the other shooter wide open so long as the ball is swung correctly. Here in early offense, Mikal follows the Suns' sprint the nearest sideline principle in transition, sprinting and spacing to the corner before receiving a click pass from Kaminsky for the wide open 3. Mikal is also showing his ability to score off the dribble too. An early offense using the drag screen before picking the ball up low underneath Lopez's arms before hitting this nice one-legged fade. The re-addition of Frank Kaminisky, a fantastic big man who is currently shooting 41% from 3, has been huge for the Suns. Frank is able to punish teams for dropping or doubling in pick and roll with his pop, as well as punishing teams for stunting at CP3 or Booker on drives. Frank is also a great passer, finding more on this back cut and connecting with more again on this dribble pitch to pick action, creating the open floater. He also has great IQ. Here he pins Bobby Portis on the weak side during the action. This leaves Cam wide open for 3. Like every single other team in the whole world, the Suns run a lot of pick and roll. With elite ball handlers like Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they are always able to create high quality looks. Off the Kaminsky screen, Devin is able to use this tough inside hand bounce pass to find Frank wide open off the pop. A big key versus drop coverages, something that the Bucks are really well known for, is the ability to pop for 3. A super simple but highly effective way to punish teams for dropping. Devin here uses the exact same pass off of the punch screen, leading to the easy floater for Ayton. The Suns love to run this double drag set in early offense, which forces the ball handler defender to have to fight over 2 screens instead of 1, making it impossible for them to perform a paint switch. This leaves the guard with a mismatch versus the big, and it finds more open here for a floater. With smart bigs like Kaminsky and Ayton, advantages are easily created. Ayton here twists, changing the way he was screening to force DiVincenzo underneath the screen, leaving Chris Paul wide open. The Suns are currently the 6th best defensive team in the league, allowing 109 points per game on average. The main point, as I discussed in my full defensive breakdown on Lou Dort, is that defense is about forcing players to play outside of their optimal area and forcing them into tough shots. Embiid is the obvious threat for the 76ers, currently playing like league MVP. The Suns opted to double or triple team Embiid on the dribble when he posts up. Here we see Moore start to move closer to Embiid and ready to double team, and Johnson moving higher to zone both Korkmaz and Scott. As soon as Embiid puts the ball on the floor, Moore sprints to double, forcing Embiid into the tough fadeaway. Joel Embiid traditionally has had issues passing out of the post versus double and triple teams. Here versus the Hornets chucking it over the backboard, and versus the Wizards where Joel just throws it to where he assumes his teammate would be. The Suns triple team him off of the Tobias Harris cut and off of Seth Curry, forcing the kick out to Seth. This triple was really smart. As I said in my Lou Dort video, understanding when you can get free doubles is vital. The Suns' plan was to double off of 1 pass away high, so in this case it would be doubling off of Seth. But as Harris cuts through after the post entry pass, Moore sees a chance to double from the baseline for free. Really smart defense by the Suns. Because the Suns were only doubling after he took a dribble, it often forced Joel Embiid to get shots like this one, tough contested jumpers without dribbling over the Suns' bigs. Now, there was one exemption to this coverage, who was Saric, who absolutely clamped up Embiid in this game. In this clip, he showcases a beautiful hustle slide and utilizes the halo stance to avoid the foul and get a block on Embiid. Saric has also excelled in drop coverage all season, here just stunting constantly at Korkmaz, putting doubt in his mind about exactly what to do. Meanwhile, Cam is recovering back onto him, and this prevents any advantage from being gained and forces the miss. Amazing defense. Another addition to the Suns during the offseason was E'Twaun Moore, who has proved to be a solid scoring bench player as well as a fantastic defender. Here Moore is able to sneak under, prevent an open 3, and force Harris into a tough fadeaway. In this clip, he forces Korkmaz into a horrible duck under bank attempt late in the clock, all without fouling. And here showcasing a great one-way closeout, forming a wall in transition to prevent Ben Simmons, who has been really dominant in transition so far this season, from getting to the rim before contesting Korkmaz. Amazing defense. The Suns over the offseason assembled a roster that is very switchable due to having players who are all athletic and long. Crowder here gets switched onto Maxey and contains him really well, blocking his floater. Finally, check out this amazing team defensive play. The 76ers try to run a wing pick and roll, so Cam moves over and sits on the nail to prevent an easy drive, which forces the kick out to Maxey. On the catch, Chris Paul gets a quick stunt in, giving Cam just enough time to recover and contest a 3-point attempt. Despite their current 2-3 record against legitimate Western Conference playoff teams, I think they match up really well against the top 4. They have a great leader in Chris Paul, they have switchable and versatile wings, and they have bigs for any matchup they might require. Ayton to be a strong, big body, Kaminsky who is a great passer and floor spacer, and Saric, the only player the Suns would allow single coverage on for Embiid. As well as their star, Devin Booker, who is starting to gel slowly with this new roster and finds his rhythm. Key wins versus the 76ers and Bucks, who are both top 10 defensive rated teams, as well as the Celtics recently, who are struggling but they definitely will be contenders by the time the season's over, show exactly how good this Phoenix Suns team can be. I am definitely really excited to see how they match up versus the Lakers in March. For once, I am finally excited about the Suns. I have always been a fan of their 7 seconds or less teams, as I believe they played basketball the right way. The Suns are more than just a bubble success, and will for sure find a playoff spot. I personally believe that 4 is their ceiling, but I do hope they are able to snag this 4 seed, as I think they could easily find themselves deep in the postseason if they continue to play as they have been of late. If you are interested in other team breakdowns, I recently posted this video about another Western Conference favorite, the Utah Jazz. Click or tap this right here to check it out.